Welcome to Ireland Live News from Mullaghmore in County Sligo. I'm Alison Comyn. Our top story. A day of remembrance and reconciliation. Prince Charles visits the scene where his granduncle lost his life in an IRA bomb.
Our current blessed era of friendship and cooperation is not, however, founded on pretending that the past did not happen. We all have regrets.
Good evening. He lost his granduncle and his mentor 36 years ago today, right here at this harbour. But as I said, today Prince Charles came to Mullaghmore to remember Lord Mountbatten and, of course, the three others who lost their lives that tragic day. But today wasn't just about remembering. Today was about reconciliation. It was about moving on. It was, as Prince Charles said, quoting Yeats, a day when peace comes dropping slow. This report from Aidan Kelly.
Thank you very much.
It was a visit 36 years in the making and a scene that few would have thought possible. The Prince of Wales in Mullaghmore, where his great-uncle Lord Mountbatten and three other people lost their lives when an IRA bomb exploded on board their fishing boat. He was accompanied by one of the survivors of the attack, Timothy Knatchbull, Lord Mountbatten's grandson. Earlier in the day, the Prince and Duchess of Cornwall had attended a civic reception at the Model Arts Centre in Sligo town, where he spoke about his own sense of great personal loss.
At the time, I could not imagine how we would come to terms with the anguish of such a deep loss, since for me, Lord Mountbatten represented the grandfather I never had. Through this dreadful experience, though, I now understand in a profound way the agonies borne by so many others in these islands, of whatever faith, denomination or political tradition.
Reminders of the troubles were never far away throughout the day. Prince Charles shook hands with Sinn Féin councillor Sean McManus, whose son was shot dead in 1992 during an IRA operation in Fermanagh. Later, at a peace and reconciliation ceremony at Drumcliff Church, the granddaughter of one of the 13 people killed on Bloody Sunday in 1972 sang in the choir. Foreign Affairs Minister Charlie Flanagan and former President Mary McAleese were also in attendance.
This visit has a uniqueness about it because this is the first time he comes to Mullaghmore, where a man whom he loved deeply and who loved him deeply was murdered brutally. If it was my friend or your friend or my uncle, we would have rushed on that day to the scene. That was not possible because of the legacy of history.
Prince Charles also attended a meeting in the Pier Hotel in Mullaghmore, where victims of the bombing were treated. There he had a private meeting with the parents of Paul Maxwell, the teenager who died in the incident. A poignant end to this historic visit. Aidan Kelly, Ireland's Live.
Also in Mullaghmore this evening is our Western correspondent, Darren Flemming. Darren, probably a painful and emotional day, but also quite a beautiful day. What was your take on the atmosphere here?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about symbolism on this visit, and the sun came out just before Prince Charles took a walkabout after he had been to a peace garden here. He met some local people. There's a high security level here, a cordon around the town, so anybody who was here is either a villager or somebody who was invited. But I spoke to one man who's been living here for since before 1979, an Englishman who fought in World War II, and he said that today for him meant the dawn of a new era. He said the sun is telling us something. He said it's bringing a new era to this town, which he said was overshadowed by the events of 1979. There was an event here beside us here in the Pierhead Hotel, which was a very important place in the aftermath of the tragedy, and people there said that the Prince and Camilla went around and spoke to them, people who were involved in the rescue efforts after the tragedy in 1979. Now, earlier we spoke to people in the village here who gave us their feelings about what this visit meant to them. The village of Mullaghmore is a peaceful haven, but it bears the scars of history. The IRA bomb aboard Lord Louis Mountbatten's boat left Charles without a granduncle and also killed 2 teenage boys and a relative in her 80s. Mountbatten had holidayed regularly for 3 decades at Classybawn Castle beside the village. Locals who worked there remembered him fondly.
He was a lovely man anyway, and we were always very happy with him. He never told us what to do anything like that. I know he had a pair of runners, and he asked me would I put a patch on them for out on the boat. So I pair of jeans of Pat's or someone's, and I patched them. And sure, he thought they were a great pair. Yeah, he did. I made a great job on them.
One of her sons also worked for Mountbatten, and another was friends with the boys who died. For them, the visit has special significance.
I know it'll be an emotional visit for Prince Charles, and for us as well, and I hope that it brings peace to him and healing as it will to us.
Lord Mountbatten was held in high regard by the royal family, and Prince Charles was very fond of him. This visit and him coming here and the relationship he had with Lord Mountbatten, the closeness, that I think it will give him a lasting peace.
But others, like the town's foremost historian, feel the visit should have been private.
Let him come in, let him talk to the people in Mullaghmore he wants to talk to, let him go into Classiebawn Castle, and then tell us about it afterwards. Let him enjoy his visit to Mullaghmore. Why all this, circus of publicity? It doesn't do anybody. I don't know who it does good for.
The harbour at Mullaghmore hasn't changed much since 1979, but the political climate couldn't be more different. People on both sides of the Irish Sea will be hoping that Prince Charles' visit here will prove to be another step forward in healing the wounds of history.
Well, here with me now is one of those residents and person who was there that tragic day, Peter McHugh. Peter, let's not look back, let's look forward. This was a very special day for you and, of course, for Prince Charles.
Yes, it's certainly a very enjoyable day, very joyous day in ways, and at times quite an emotional day as well, because a lot of the memories of 79 came flooding back. But as you say, we're looking forward now, and we were absolutely delighted to welcome the Prince here.
What did he say to you?
Well, he emphasised first of all how beautiful the area was. I mean, that seemed to strike him, and the Duchess also, how lovely the area was. He mentioned quite a few times that he really thought he might never be able to make it here, and he seemed relieved that he was able to make it here. He was very interested in the area in general, very interested in what Lord Mountbatten did when he came here, and I tried to emphasise to him the fact that Lord Mountbatten and his family spent approximately 30 years on a
very much part of the community, weren't they?
Very much part of the community, well able to just move around as he wanted to move around.
Now, it was difficult, of course, for their family, for all the residents here, but today bring a bit of closure to what happened.
Closure might be a little bit strong a word for it, but it certainly brings us to another phase. I mean, it was a momentous happening back in 79. This is a momentous happening as well, so it certainly will help in the healing process, and certainly hope that it helps Prince Charles as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and we will come back to you later on in the programme from Mullaghmore in Sligo. Well, welcome back to Mullaghmore, where today Prince Charles visited the site where in 1979 his granduncle Lord Mountbatten was killed by an IRA bomb. But today was about remembering, it was about healing old wounds, but there was also room, hopefully, for a bit of crack. And just about half an hour ago, Prince Charles and Camilla headed off to the Sligo races, where Sarah O'Connor is there for us now. Sarah, have they backed any winners yet?
Yes, Alison, well, it's bound to have been an emotional day for the royal couple, but the Prince and his wife have arrived here at Sligo Races in Clevedra, and with the sun shining and Ben Bulbin in the background, it's bound to have lifted their spirits. Now, the second race here, which is called after them, the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall's Mare's Maiden Hurdle, has just happened, and the Duke and Duchess have just presented a trophy to the winner of that race. The winner, of course, was Mollyana, her first win, and the Duke and the Prince and the Duchess presented a trophy to the owner trainer of that horse. And of course, they're going to stay here for a little bit of time. They're going to talk to people. They're still here behind me. They'll stay for around 2 more races before heading back to South Galway, where they spent the night last night, to Lochcutra Castle. And of course, tomorrow then they will travel to the north, where they'll spend the remainder of their 4-day visit to Ireland.
Well, that is it from Mullaghmore at the moment. We'll have more for you on Ireland Live at 10. For me, have a very good evening. For now, though, we'll leave you with some images of the events from today.
The poet Yeats, who is of course buried at Drumcliff, once wrote, "And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow."